Didn't you know? The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword's overworld, also known simply as the Sky, was designed by renowned mangaka Akira Toriyama, famous for his manga Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater Volume 3. Despite his fame, it's a little known fact that Toriyama is actually colorblind, which is the reason why all of his manga are exclusively black and white. When working on The Sky for Skyward Sword, Toriyama was asked to draw the clouds a specific shade of white. However, due to his colorblindness, he accidentally used a shade of beige, an error that wouldn't be caught until years after the game's release, when someone finally played it for the first time in 2016. The idea of the Gratitude Crystals as a collectible exclusive to Skyward Sword was a decision made by the head of development, Shigeru Miyamoto. According to an E3 interview, Miyamoto never had any friends as a child, and was forced to play his Nintendo DS alone during lunch, and the system was implemented because he wanted the players to be able to experience the same frustrations he did in attempting to make friends. The inclusion of rewards after surpassing benchmark amounts of Gratitude Crystals was a later design choice, and a social commentary on how people befriend others solely for the sake of monetary value, with some Gratitude Crystals not even being tied to people or good deeds at all. In fact, Miyamoto has stated that he refuses to collect any Gratitude Crystals when playing the game himself because he knows it won't fill the void in his heart left behind by those evil boys. Similar to the inclusion of Gratitude Crystals, bomb bowling was also introduced as a new mechanic in Skyward Sword out of spite. Weapons programmer Eiji Aonuma was out one night near the release of Skyward Sword when he bowled a whopping 29 at his local bowling alley. According to court testimonies, Mr. Aonuma flew into a drunken rage where he physically threw himself into the pins while shouting something about hitboxes. He fled the scene of the crime in his Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 before police arrived. It was later discovered that the subsequent vandalism at Nintendo of Japan's headquarters was actually Aonuma covering his tracks. It seems that after the incident at the bowling alley, he created bowling animations for Zelda with his bombs. He then proceeded to elongate certain tiles in-game, making it so the player would be required to bomb bowl, as it was later captioned, using the intentionally broken and precise motion controls. Aonuma managed to do all this in a single night. When employees arrived at work the next day, no one was able to determine what had happened the night prior. Similar to the Sky's color, bomb bowling was another error that wasn't caught until the game's release because, according to quality assurance testers, they couldn't be bothered to play through the game long enough to encounter the broken mechanic. The misunderstood monster Batreaux initially appears as a horrifying beast, but is soon revealed to be a gentle giant. However, like many of the other characters in Skyward Sword, Batreaux has many references surrounding him, and his actually point to a darker origin. During his initial monstrous yell, his arms are in the same position as Shao Kahn's portrait and winning pose from Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega Genesis. Another reference to this villain can be seen in the lights hanging from Batreaux' ceiling. If you look closely, you can see that they bear a striking resemblance to Shao Kahn's bone mask. The fact that there are 5 of these lights implies that Batreaux killed not just 1, but 5 iterations of Shao Kahn. This is also evidence towards the popular theory that Batreaux was once planned to be a fighter in Mortal Kombat 2, but was removed later in development due to balancing issues. In Skyward Sword, Beetle is the only person to sell you a heart piece in the entire game, and if the player asks about the heart piece before buying it, he will respond by saying that he doesn't actually know what it is and just picked it up somewhere nearby. However, it's hinted in-game that Beetle may have actually ripped out his own heart and replaced it with a mechanical heart. This is how he's able to pedal non-stop and keep his house flying in the air even with Zelda on board. It may also be a reference to his romantic interest in Fi, the jailbait sword spirit that rides on Zelda's back throughout the game. Beetle only ever let down his rope to Zelda and refuses to sell his heart to anyone else. However, it's entirely possible that this may be simply because he believes that the only way to get to Fi is through Zelda. This is further evidenced by the concept art of Beetle and Fi as a couple in Hyrule Historia, which also supports the claim that the heart piece that Beetle sells is indeed his own ripped out organ that he wishes to give to Fi. It's believed that Beetle and his obsession with a digital girl were included so that players of Skyward Sword would finally have someone to relate to. Didn't you also know that Zelda's form in Twilight Princess was based off of Reggie Fils-Aimé's persona? If you want to know more trivia on Zelda and other obscure video game series, consider watching the Didn't You Know video games episode on Twilight Princess. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to leave a like and press the subscribe button to show your support, and to look out for new episodes of Didn't You Know video games. I've been DPadGamer, which you can find me on the internet under the name DPadGamer. I make a lot of videos on glitches and Easter eggs and stuff, and that's about it for this one. Thanks for watching.